Do you know there are three kind of error? The first error is basically called as syntax error. The second error is a logical error. And the third error is the input which is given by user. That means input error. So here today we are with exception handling in the Python. So I welcome you all in this video to understand what is exception handling in the Python. So I'm going to make it very simple for you. So what is the meaning of first meaning of syntax error? Suppose the syntax is basically a language required by any programming methods. So in programming, we have a specific like print is a one kind of a syntax. Then we can say while is a one kind of syntax. Suppose you have written a syntax wrong, then no one can help you. There will be an error will going to come for sure. But if the syntax is wrong, the Python will going to tell you, yes, you have a syntax error. See here. So syntax error can be modified very easily. The second error is basically called the logical error, which I defined. The term logical, I defined it. That means you have written a wrong logic of the program. Whatever mathematical functions require, you have written it wrong way. So that type of error is basically called as a syntax error. Sorry, logical error. So this error you cannot find out using any compiler or interpreter cannot tell you that you have a logical error. If your logic is wrong, the complete program is wrong. But the user may enter the wrong value which is not accepted by your program, and there might be error occurred. So this kind of error is basically called as a user input error. This terminology is also I defined it in my way. So great. Suppose your program is syntactically correct, your program is logically correct, but user has entered the wrong value. So what you will do? The error will occur and the user will not going to use your app or your system. So we have a very beautiful way of handling that in Python, and that is called exception handling in the Python. So let's try to understand what is the meaning of exception handling in the Python. Okay. So the first part is different exception which can be raised in the Python are import error. Suppose you try to import something. On that time, the import, if the file fails to import, it is going to say import error. Suppose you have not installed that. I'm trying to actually get import numpy. So numpy I have not installed. So on that time, it is going to say import error. Index error. Suppose you have only 4 value in the list, and you are trying to find out the fifth value. So it is basically called as out of index error. Suppose you have not defined the value. Like suppose I will say print A, but I have not defined print A. On that time, the name error will occur. Syntax error. When your syntax error, suppose you have written a wrong statement. Instead of print, you might have written printf because you are fond of using C programming. But we use a print here. Next, type error. Suppose you define an inappropriate type. Suppose that type is a string and you're trying to take the value as a float. Value error. Suppose inappropriate value is been given. Okay, function called the value of a correct type, but the inappropriate value is given by you. So that is basically called as value error. So these are these 6 error which encounter due to a user input. It might be due to you. So how to handle this exception in Python? How to deal with these errors? Okay. So wherever you have a chance that that error may occur, you can use exception handling in the Python. So let's write a very simple program first. So the program says print number equal to input. So I'm taking a value from input. I'm taking a value from user. So first user value is taken. Okay. First value is taken. The second, again, I am taking from user value is taken. So I'm taking two value from user. The first is numerator. The second one is denominator. I intentionally written integer over here because the value which is taken by the user is always in the form of string. Okay, now the numerator divide by denominator and we get the answer. And let's print the answer. So if I run this, it is going to ask me the numerator first. So 4 and then 5 and we have the answer. Very easy program, very easy. It's not just division program. Let's run it one more time. Now suppose your user has entered numerator as 4 and denominator as 0. There will be error will going to occur. See, your program is not syntactically or logically incorrect, but the user has entered the value 0. User don't know that division by 0 is not possible. So you might have a user like that. So on that time, you cannot produce an error like this. If your error is produced like this and you have written this program for an app, so your app will going to drop. So how to handle this kind of exception? How to handle this kind of exception in Python? So let's try to understand this. Great. So suppose we have the input I'm taking from user, second input also I'm going to take it from user itself. Okay. And what we are going to do, we are going to first divide that. And that is basically called try. If no error occur, we are going to print that. If no error occur, we are going to print that. And if error is occurred, then we are not going to print that. We are going to print this one. So let me tell you. First, the input is taken. The second input is taken. And now suppose we are going to try this one. First step, second step, third step. If the no error is occur, it is going to go over here. And if an error is occur, it is going to go over here. Great. So it basically depend on what condition. If error, then it is going to go over directly here, except. And if it's no error, it is going to go for printing the answer. Great. So let's try to run this and see how the system is working for us. So numerator 5, suppose I enter 5 and denominator 4, you can take any value. Yes, answer is correct. Now let's try to give the input as 0. So 8 and the denominator is now 0. If I enter, it says denominator cannot be 0. Now see, the denominator which we have provided is 0, but it is saying denominator cannot be 0. Great. So I hope this is very much clear to you. Exception handling in the Python very beautifully we can actually answer the exception which are happening in the Python. Great. So it's a great learning. This is Piyush Dave signing off. Thank you very much.